The US Army just quietly made a pretty big move, and most people didn't even notice. They've raised the maximum enlistment age from 35 to 42. Yeah, 7 extra years, meaning if you thought you were too old to join, guess what? Not anymore. But that's not the only change. They've also loosened some of the rules around criminal records. Specifically, if you have just one marijuana or paraphernalia conviction, you no longer need a waiver. And let's be honest, that's a pretty big shift compared to how strict the military used to be. So why now? Because recruiting has been struggling. The Army missed its enlistment targets in recent years, and this is clearly an effort to widen the pool of people who can join, and it's already showing up in the numbers. The average age of recruits is creeping up compared to past decades. Basically, they're not just looking for 18-year-olds fresh out of high school anymore. They're going after older applicants, people with more life experience, and even people who might have been disqualified before. But here's the reality. Even with those changes, active service members still can't use marijuana, and stricter rules still apply if you've gotten multiple convictions. So this isn't a free-for-all, it's just the Army adapting, because right now, they need more people. The U.S.
Shalom, Kohala, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Racha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the Great Millstone who the rule and teach well. Peace and blessing salutations, as always, to the hopefully elect, listening and learning. So back in the news, and as usual, Esau, he got a lot going on. So as you saw right here in this opening clip, they've now raised the age of recruitment from 18 to 42. And starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, brothers have been warning that Esau was going to do this. And lo and behold, here we are. Now, why are they choosing to do this now at this point in time? The weather's getting warmer, and I believe they said this is going to take effect in April, which is a few days away. The weather's getting warmer. They about to do a ground invasion in Iran, which we'll get into in a moment. But see, we told you, Israelites, that these things were coming. That eventually Esau, in his desperation, he's going to implement a draft. All right, he's going to force people against their will to go into the armed forces and die for the small hats. All right, and we always reference how Bibi last year made the statement that your sons and daughters will die for Israel in 2026. All right, he said that verbatim. So here we are to where now, because at first it was 18 to 26. Now they done jump from 18 to 42. And Esau may possibly even go higher once that demographic dies out, because he's that desperate. And he knows that he's at the end. And not only is it going to be men, it's going to be women as well. All right, but you're going to have a lot of women, all right, suddenly end up pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Try to flee, try to, use any excuse to not go. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try to get back in the kitchen and be up under men. All right? But at the end of the day, this is the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Because there's a great judgment that's coming on this earth, and the Lord is going to use Esau to bring these calamities and judgments about. We also know that the elites, they got a Depop agenda to where they want to knock off 95% of the people off the planet Earth. All right, and this is how they're going to do it. Part of how they're going to do it is through wars, disease, famine, and just putting people to death with the sword. So, hey, as we always say, we in that time of peril. Danger is at every corner. You see? So now, all right, let's jump here. All right. This video from Kyle Kalinski's Second to Talk, and he's going into the ground invasion that Iran is about to do. Now, when you look at this on paper, right, there's no way that Babylon is gonna try to invade Iran. Logistically, it just doesn't make sense, because where are you going to invade from? They really have no launching point to go into Iran, and there's no strategy behind this. Really, what they about to do, all right, which we'll get into the video, because Iran, they got a 1 million-man army. You see what I'm saying? And Iran has been effing Babylon up since the start of this war. So now that they're going to try to put boots on the ground and invade, what is this really all about? Because it's not like this invasion is going to get anywhere, all right? They tried to get the Kurds to invade Iran, and they said, hell no. This don't even make sense. So the Kurds backed out, which was a mercenary group that the CIA tried to pay to go up in Iran, but even they turned down the offer. They said, man, look, this right here don't make no sense. This is a suicide mission. So I'm curious to see how Esau is going to try to pull this off. You know what I'm saying? Because Iran is literally waiting on America to make a move, literally waiting on them. So they're well prepared. So this right here shows you that really Esau, you know what I'm saying, he don't give a damn about the average American. You know what I'm saying? He's all about his conquest and his bloodlust and what he want to get accomplished, man. Because what he's doing, what he's about to do with his ground invasion, it's not going to be effective. It's not like he's going to gain any ground behind doing this. So really, what's the point? Well, like I said, Depop, all right, trying to save face. And you know, by this point now, they can't just back out the war. Because now America's looking real weak to even their allies and every nation in that region. So they got to do this to save face and you know, try to prop themselves up as the world hegemon. But really, that's changing, all right? But I ain't going to talk no more. You know, we'll let Kyle Kalinske talk and get into it. So this is breaking. Iran is prepared for America to touch down on Iranian soil. Check it out.
In this show, where I describe in detail how the world is coming to a horrifying end. All right, let's go ahead and jump Insky. All right, so let's start with this right here. Breaking. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, who's the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, came out and said the following, quote, based on some intelligence reports, Iran's enemies are preparing to occupy one of the Iranian islands with support from one of the regional countries. Our forces are monitoring all enemy movements, and if they take any step, all the vital infrastructure of that regional country will be targeted with relentless, unceasing attacks. So in other words, they know Trump is planning an illegal ground invasion. They know that. They're aware of that. They see the troop movements. They see the buildup. And what they're saying is, hey, any of you Gulf Arab countries that allow the attack to be launched from your territory, it's a wrap on you once that happens, dog. It's a...
You see? So Iran already gave the warning. They told all the Gulf Arab states, like, yo, if y'all let Babylon use your nation to springboard and attack us, then we gonna destroy you. So you see what's happening now? Iran is pretty much calling America's bluff, all right? Really, he's calling out everybody, you know what I'm saying? Because now the Gulf Arab states, now they got to think about themselves, you know what I'm saying? Like Iran is putting it, is drawing a line in the sand. Okay, Iran is basically making it to where the Gulf Arab states, they have to choose themselves or choose America. Because if they allow America to use their territory or any base in that region to launch an attack against Iran, now they put their nation in danger. So this is going to cause a lot of them Gulf Arab states to change colors, man. This is going to cause a lot of them to look at Babylon sideways because of these threats that Iran is now posing. And they know that Iran ain't bluffing because Iran so far in this war has carried out every threat that they've made against Babylon the Great. So these Gulf Arab states know that Iran is not bluffing. Okay? So now, you know, if they're going to help and assist America, that's going to be to their own detriment. So Iran, once again, very strategic, very well thought out and calculated. All right? Let's continue.
Apsky. It's over. Like, we're going to light your whole shit up. You're not going to be able to recover from the damage that we're about to do to you. That's what he's saying. Clearly, the move here is like put pressure on the Gulf Arab country to basically break up with the U.S. and be like, hey, man, I can't afford to have my own infrastructure fucked up because you want to launch the attack from our area. So it'll be interesting to see. But as I keep pointing out to you guys, and as we keep covering, there's been a lot of troop movements, and it looks like Trump has already decided on doing a ground war, even though half the time he pretends like the war is over and we're in talks and we already achieved all of our goals and we already did regime change. He's been back, forth. And a big part of that is just lying. A big part of that is just deception because he wants to do the ground invasion and like throw them off. But guess what? They know that you lie about everything all the time anyway. They know that you promised negotiations with Qasem Soleimani before you murdered him. He was like one of their top commanders. So they're onto your bullshit, and it's not fucking working. anymore. Okay, let me show you this. So Ken Klippenstein says, and he's citing the New York Times here, about 50,000 troops are assigned to the overall operation the Pentagon calls Epic Fury, or as we call it.
So 50,000 American troops are now being deployed to Iran to launch a ground invasion. And like we just ran into, Iran already gave the warning. Listen, y'all better not let Babylon use you as a springboard to come up in here. All right, or else you gonna get dealt with. So that's what I'm saying. How is America about to do this invasion? Where? It doesn't make any sense, man. You see, but that's Esau for you. You know what I'm saying? Because really Esau, he's at the end of the road. He's not even moving on strategy no more. He's just moving on pure impulse. All right, he's just moving on pride. You see? And that's not going to be enough to win this war against Iran. All right? It hasn't been enough so far.
Operation Epstein Fury, or the Jeffrey Epstein War. 50,000? The story we covered the other day was it was like, I don't know, in total like 4 or 5, maybe 6,000 at most troops that were moved to the region. Now you're telling me 50,000 troops are assigned to this? Oh, they're about to make a horrifying mistake, bro. And then, by the way, once Trump makes the decision and they actually try to take an island, Iran could just light the whole island up and say, look, if we can't have it, you can't have it. We'll just kill all of you. Like, at every step of the way, they've outsmarted the U.S. They just have. And at every step of the way, they've shown more power than the axis of Epstein thought they had. And so, why?
And see, again, this is all from Yahweh Bashmel Shah, because anything Esau does this point moving forward is only going to add to his own destruction. See, there's no good outcome for Esau or Babylon the Great or the Small Hats or any of their allies. There's no good outcome for this war. This war is the war to end all wars. See, this is moving nuclear now. Okay? Because if they try to invade Karg Island and so call themselves trying to take it over, like Kyle Kalinske say, they can just blow up the whole shit. And, everybody dies, okay? They're not going to invade Iran because, Iran got drones, okay? They haven't even used half of their missile supply yet. And this is going on a month, and they haven't even used half of their missile supply. Really, all the stuff they've launched so far is the old stuff. But all the hypersonic, high-tech stuff that they got, they ain't even let that loose yet. And America's talking about they're going to invade. Only way I can see these devils invading Iran is if they dig a hole in the ground and they put them 50,000 troops underground and they pop up in Tehran. That's the only way I can see that working, but we all know that ain't going to happen.
Would this be any different? Why does Trump think at some point he'll get them in some maneuver where they go, oh, I give up. We're all now stepping down. You win, Donald. It's not going to happen. This is, I'm telling you, this is a catastrophe. And we haven't even talked about the economic angle of it yet. Look at this. Iran appears to be acting on retaliatory threats following reported new HIMARS launches from Kuwait, with Iranian sources claiming these were fuel tanks targeted today used to support U.S. operations. So we still have a hot war, y'all. Al Jazeera English says smoke rising from Kuwait airport after Iranian drone attack. And you can see here, they're not fucking around, man. They are not fucking around, not even a little bit. On the economic front, crude oil exports during the first 23 days of March 2026 versus first 23 days of February 2026, okay? Kuwait down 72%. Iran plus 4. Iraq down 49%. Iraq, the south portion, down 76%. Oman plus 7. More on that in a minute. Because you're going, wait a second, I thought they were blocking Oman's oil too. Wait for it. Russia plus 14. And Saudi Arabia down 52%. So we all know why Iran's numbers have gone up. They control the strait and they're allowing their ships through. We know why Russia's numbers have gone up. They're the beneficiary of this war, right? But why has Oman gone up? Well, the answer is very simple. Markets aren't pricing an end to the war. What markets are pricing is Oman appears to have followed Qatar in cutting a deal with Iran, reportedly involving a $6 billion payment, with the IRGC now issuing transit waivers that have brought Lloyd's back into the market. What's being said here is Iran now controls the Strait, and they get to flex some power, and they get to say, oh, okay, you want to use the Strait? Well, you owe us. Pay us a tax, and then we'll let you through. So we went from totally open, totally free, to they shut it down because the Axis of Epstein attacked them, to they're blocking all of us and our allies' ships, to, oh, all right, we'll let some of you through, but pay your tax. And so whoever makes a deal with them, and what does that do? It makes the government more powerful in the same way that the Axis of Epstein lifted sanctions on the Iranian oil that was at sea. That also makes them more powerful in the same way that Russia is now selling oil at a premium price. That makes them more powerful. So
Yeah, so we'll tap back into that, what he's going into with the oil later on in the lesson, but I want to jump here as well. All right, reload this.
We now have some new updates out of Iran, with Iran touting that they are more than capable of supplying 1 million fighters to the front lines anywhere needed within the country, especially if the United States decides they're going to send troops in, or ground troops, to take any part. Now, there's been talk that Trump has pushed back this whole deadline 10 days, but we've got Marines heading to the area, some 7,000 additional U.S. troops, mainly Marines. You also have in there airborne troops, 82nd Airborne. And it doesn't matter who you talk to or listen to on the situation, Karg Island is not going to be an easy task to go in and just take over. Even if they do drop in, they're saying that the Iranians are ruthless, that once you're in there on their territory, they'll do anything, kamikaze style, to take us out, including setting booby traps all across the island that could ignite the entire thing. They're ready to do anything, they're saying. So,
Hey, they fucking with the wild boar, man. Okay? Iran is like, look, if you step foot on our territory, all bets are off. All right? We going all out against your ass. And this is the wild boar. Okay? Second Esdras, 15th chapter. Right? Second Esdras 15 and 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, a great army, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. So the dragons of Arabia, all right, we see that those Gulf Arab states, they're being heavily affected by this war. And now, given that warning from Iran, which, before America even went in over there, Saudi Arabia, UAE, they already told Babylon that, nah, y'all can't use our territory to launch against Iran, all right? Because they still wanted to, have good relations with Iran, and they didn't really want to get dragged into the war. But due to prophecy, all right, the Lord is going to make the Arabians get into this war. All right, all those Gulf Arab states are going to get involved, because this is ultimately where the valley of Yehoshaphat is going to go down over there. Verse 30, also, the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. All right, now, just real quick, let's ask, who are the Carmanians? All right, we already know, but just for sake of edification, right? Let's see if this will give it to us right here. Okay, the Carmanians makes reference to the Carmonians or Carmanians. These were a people from Carmania, a fertile province of ancient Persia. Okay, so the Carmanians in prophecy are referring to the Persians, or modern day Iran, okay, which they call themselves Persians, you know what I'm saying? Situated on the north shore of the Persian Gulf, modern Kerman. It is a mountainous region separated by a desert from Persis, SW, part of Iran, okay? So that's all we need right there, all right? The Carmanians here are referring to the Persians. And what it would say, raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. Okay, that's why Iran is telling Babylon, like, yo, y'all want to come with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We going all out. Okay, we will do any and everything, set booby traps, we'll go kamikaze on you. We'll shit, we'll blow up the whole island. Okay? That's that ruthless ferocity of a wild boar. All right, that's the spirit that these Iranians, these Persians are coming in. And with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, which is talking about modern day America, Babylon the Great. The small hats are also a part of that. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be trouble-bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, and in their hosts shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm, right? So this is what the scripture is referring to, and this is what we see taking place in real time right now. All right? So, hey, the men of the Lord have been sounding the alarm, telling you these things were coming, and here we are. All right? It's all prophetic.
1 million soldiers mobilized. They're saying right now for this force. So we've got a big mass heading in that direction. There was said to be 50 to 60,000 troops stationed amongst all these bases in the area. But when they started firing missiles everywhere, the U.S. pulled their troops out of most of those close bases to different locations. So what they're going to do in the coming week, obviously yet to be seen, but it's going to be interesting because it seems Trump's using all this talk time to reposition. And as soon as they get into position, they strike. This time, it's not just going to be striking with missiles and walking away, it seems. They're prepared for a ground invasion. So where this goes, we're just going to have to wait and see. Energy prices and all that surely going to fluctuate if this goes down. And join me for the live stream, going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah, so Iran is prepared with a 1 million man army, okay? And the American armed forces, they can't even get 500,000 to join the army because this war is very unpopular with the American public. I believe sometime this week, Monday or Tuesday, the info came out that Trump is the most unpopular president ever in American history. Okay? So that shows you right there that MAGA has turned on DJT. Nobody believes in this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, they see all the lies that he be talking on TV. Just complete folly, nonsense. Talk about we already won the war and America's winning. Winning where? You know? Like, what are you talking about, dude? And see, he's gonna continue to do this, all right, because he can't let the truth be known. Even though everybody know that, DJT is full of shit, man. Which really is not even him, it's the small hats, behind his back. But him being the figurehead for America, nobody takes America seriously. And this is why the world is about to come against this place, man. This is why the world is rising up against Esau. Cause Esau ain't even got it no more, man. Okay, you have an actor. Okay, you have an actor. Failed real estate broker. Okay, at the head of running a war. You know what I'm saying? And this is very reminiscent of Ukraine, to where Zelensky, I think he was a comedian or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they put that nigga over the head of Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? To fight against Russia. Just complete folly, man. But show you that Esau through, that these devils don't got it, man. They're at the end of the road, and every move they make is furthering that end. See, there is no good outcome. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go into the Project Looking Glass, to where these devils, they basically try to tap into the future to see if there was anything that they could do to escape their judgment. And what they saw, what they found out, see, this is how Revelation 12 and 12 comes into the picture, you know what I'm saying? Because they saw that there was nothing that they could do. Every possible option that they tried to escape their judgment, to escape going into slavery and being destroyed, it all ended in the same outcome. It all ended in their destruction. Okay? And they saw that. They saw the writing on the wall. So these Edomites, knowing that they have a short time, they just about to go all out. They don't give a damn no more. They don't care. And they about to sacrifice American citizens, sons and daughters, all right, to die in this war, to so-called themselves establishing their NWO. But it's all gonna fail. Okay, this right here is a vain imagination. Babylon thinking that they can invade Iran, that they just gonna run up in Iran like that, and they gonna get the W. That's a vain imagination, man. That's insanity. Especially when Iran, they're literally waiting on them. Like, what do you think that you gonna do? You damn sure not gonna drop a nuke on Iran. Okay, so was you know, Esau's in the trick bag, man. Esau bugged out. Yeah. So this is what Kyle Kalinske was going into earlier with the oil. Analyst warns oil could reach 4-year high if U.S. launches ground invasion, and it's not if, they will. So when they launch this ground invasion, oil is going to reach a 4-year high, even higher than what we saw back during the initial invasion of Ukraine back in 2022. And I remember back then, like, yo, gas prices was high as shit, man. Right? You had people going around siphoning gas out people's tanks, you know. You had people fighting for gas at the gas station, you know, going, filling up, you know, multiple tanks at a time, robbing people for their gas. Like, that was crazy. But see, it's about to be even worse now, because we at the point now to where Esau, he's ready for societal collapse. You know what I'm saying? That was a test run. But now these devils are ready to collapse this whole shit, man. Right? It says here, oil prices could reach levels not seen since the height of the 2022 energy crisis if the U.S. deploys ground troops in Iran, a leading oil analyst has warned. Last week, sources told CBS News that Pentagon officials were developing plans to deploy U.S. ground forces into Iran. Axios also reported that the administration was weighing up the prospect of occupying Karg Island, a key Iranian oil export hub, in an attempt to pressure Tehran into loosening its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Bob Yager, energy futures strategist at Mizuho Financial Group, told Newsweek that, quote, the first headline of U.S. troops setting foot on Karg Island would immediately drive oil prices $10 per barrel higher than the roughly 107 at which Brent crude currently sits, and that it would continue to be felt at least into May. He added that prices could probably challenge the 130 high from the Russian war in Ukraine, depending on how the operation went. And the operation is not going to work. So we potentially looking at, because these devils are going to lowball it, right? They're going to tell you 130 a barrel. Nah. More like 170, approaching $200 a barrel. And Trump already told you, hey, if the gas price goes up, it goes up. That's the price we got to pay to win this war, right? That's what that devil said. Yeah, prices riding on forever war fears. The U.S. launched an extensive bombing campaign against Karg Island, which President DJT said, quote, obliterated all military targets on the island, which is bullshit. Okay, like, yo, Trump is wild, man. All this dude has been doing is just spewing nothing but lies. All right? It has also now deployed thousands of troops to the region. Officials have yet to confirm any imminent ground incursion into Iranian territory, but they have not explicitly ruled out such plans. Also, yeah, you got the 82nd Airborne Division of the Marines being sent to Iran. So you know what I'm saying? You have a lot of military buildup happening over there in that region. You see what I'm saying? And this is their attempt. All right. It says here up to 3,000 paratroopers could be joining the estimated 5,000 Marines currently being shipped over, swelling the ranks of the 50,000 American troops already in the Middle East. And see, if you get deployed over there, you ain't coming back. If you get deployed to Western Asia to fight in this Third World War, your ass gonna be topsoil over there, man. They ain't even gonna send you back in a casket. All right, you know what I'm saying? You gonna be gone. All right, that's what type of time it is, man. You see, this is judgment. President Donald Trump has proposed a deal with the Iranians this week, but also threatened attacks, saying the U.S. can take out Kharg Island at any time, which is BS. The small island sitting just 15 miles off the mainland is crucial to Iran's already poor economy, accounting for 90% of Tehran's oil exports. And if Iran blows up the island, that's, see, because this island here is responsible for 90% of Tehran's oil exports. So when America does go to invade Kharg Island, and let's say that, you know, on paper that they do have some success, well, Iran can just blow up the whole island. And there goes majority of the world's oil production right there. All right? So either way that this thing goes, it's going to be a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? Things going to go from bad to worse, man. Okay? So this is it. This is where we at, man. All right? We're in the beginning moments, all right, of this World War III. Okay? And, you know, all these nations are being drawn in. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh Bashmi Shai is mustering the hosts of the battle in this war. Okay? Joel 3. Joel 3 in verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh Shaphat, which means Yahweh's judgment. This is where the Lord is going to judge all these nations together, man. That's why he's gathering them all into that region. And Russia ain't got involved yet. China ain't got involved. North Korea, India, Pakistan. All right? Turkey. But things are going to go down to where all these nations are going to be drawn out. Okay? Because of what the small hats are going to do. And if the small hats, you know what I'm saying, because they've been talking about establishing this third temple, you know what I'm saying, like I think they already done sacrificed the red heifer. So if them small hats go to blow up the Dome of the Rock, all right, which more than likely they are going to do that, then that's going to galvanize all the Muslim nations in that region to come together and come against America and the small hats. And that's how this whole thing is going to go down. All right, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's going to be a war right there. Europe going to have to pick a side. They going to have to decide if they want to stand with the small hats in America, and they're not. All right, Revelation 17 and 16 tell you that they going to burn the whole with fire. So they going to change colors, and they going to side with the bricks, and they going to come against America too. So really, when you look at it on a prophetic level, it's basically Babylon and the small hats against the whole world, man. Okay, because Babylon, they don't have no allies left. All their allies are turning against them. And of course, the only ally that the small hats have is America. So that, you know what I'm saying, that's how cold the Lord is, man, to where he's isolating Amalek and Babylon on the world stage. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fast overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. And this is where we at, man. You know what I'm saying? To where the Lord, he's about to judge all these heathen, okay? All these Edomites, all these Ishmaelites, Hamites, Moabite, Ammonite, Elam, okay, Amalek, all these nations are about to be judged. Japheth, all, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's about to get their judgment, man. Okay, 2/3 of our people. All right, wicked ass Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. Listen, everybody's about to get their just due in this time. All right, because we're at the end of the world. And this is what the Lord is about to bring forth. You see? So, yeah. You know, these are the things in which, you know, we got to pay attention to and continue to watch in these times, man, because things are heating up. Right? Things are not going back to normal. Okay? The normalcy that you once knew, that's gone. That's out the window. Now it's time for war. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord, one, this lesson has been edifying through the Kakadash. Call Lord Yahweh Bashmo Shai, Bashmo Kakadash. And until next time, Lord willing, Shalom to the elect. Kom Yasha Allah, Wa Babu Shalom.